Good morning, everyone. We are live this morning in Ironwood at the Stormy Kromer factory. We're going to be taking a behind-the-scenes tour, taking a look at just how a Kromer is made and also looking at some of the other products that come out of this facility. I'm really excited to be here. Obviously, we all know the Kromer, but I've never seen up close how they're made, and already real cool.
Oh yeah, we're here in Ironwood, and I'm going to be fighting the urge to bring out my Yooper accent all day long.
You're
because
nailing
I feel
it.
like when I'm talking about a Stormy Kromer, I always want to say a Stormy Kromer, eh?
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't know.
Do you have a Stormy Kromer?
I don't have a Stormy Kromer.
Okay,
I am
neither do I.
not a true Yooper in that sense, so we are getting indoctrinated into the Upper Peninsula lifestyle and culture with our very first Stormy Kromers today. But you know what? It is Monday, September 30th, the last day of September.
It's beautiful outside.
It is. It is gorgeous.
Beautiful
And I
day.
spent my weekend paddleboarding yet again, so it just seems like an endless summer vacation. It is never ending. But tomorrow, looking at the forecast, it's going to be a little bit more fall-like then. So these Stormy Kromer caps, the vest, all the winter gear, it's going to be needed. It's going to come in handy. It's
Pull them
finally getting
out.
into that season.
That's right.
Yep.
Pull them out, dust them off, because you're going to want them on your head soon. And as we were driving, we're going to walk over here and get started. But as we were driving this morning, you guys, the colors were so beautiful. It felt like the closer we got to Ironwood, the brighter and more vibrant they were. And it was just such a beautiful, quiet, peaceful drive. And I didn't mind it one bit.
I didn't either. A nice sunrise too. So
Yeah, a couple of hours on the road, and here we are.
And here we are. We've got
Good morning.
We've got Bob Jacquart with us and the CEO Gina Thorson. Thanks a lot for having us here in your factory. Obviously, there's a lot of history with Stormy Kromer and a lot of significance of being here in Ironwood. So I guess let's take it back to the beginning before we talk about what's happening here today and taking a look at the production process. For the folks that don't know, when did Stormy Kromer get started? How long have you been in business?
Well, it's really good that you're asking, because I really was surprised last week. I was in the Sioux speaking about Stormy Kromer, and hardly anybody in the audience knew that Stormy Kromer actually was a person and everything like that. So getting the history out is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So Stormy Kromer was really a person. His name was really George Kromer. But we found out later that his nickname came from a very difficult personality. A stormy personality, not a winter hat maker, but a man with a stormy personality. And so he created this hat with the ear flaps and started the business and owned it from 1903 to 1964, sold it to a guy from Milwaukee who owned it from 1964 to 2001. And then we had the opportunity to pick it up. So our family, Gina is my daughter. Our family has the privilege of being the third owner of this wonderful hat brand.
And this has become an icon for people in the Upper Peninsula. These hats are worn across the country, but if you're from the UP, you almost have to have a Stormy Kromer. We were just saying it's time to dust them off. The weather's going to be changing. It's time to get the ear flaps down. But it really is just a part of who we are up here.
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny because it did start in Wisconsin, but the UP and really the whole state of Michigan has really embraced it. And I think it is a sign of like how we endure these winters, right? And how we get through it. And we have the gear, we have the stuff, nothing will phase us. And the fact that it is cut and sewn right here in the UP also is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
What about Stormy Kromer? What has changed in that time, in over generations of families owning it, and what has remained the same over all of those years?
Well, the hat has definitely stayed the same. Exactly the same.
It's the same hat from 1903?
We've got some that they're slightly different, but for the most part, they're exactly the same.
Awesome.
The hat we call the original is the same. When we bought this company in 2001, the Kromer Cap Company made two hats, a black hat and a red hat. So everything that you see in colors and vests like Gina's wearing, and any colored hat or any lady's hat or any hat with a flower, was all kind of a result of us brainstorming, how can we keep this project going? And I want to tell you, there's no way this hat business would be as famous as it is if it wasn't for the Upper Peninsula supporting us, and the whole state of Michigan actually, but it's been really, really cool to have that.
I mean, a Stormy Kromer cap has become the unofficial uniform of the Yoopers for many, many years now. So I think it's only fitting that Upper Michigan today is here for the first time to see how it's all made.
That's right. And we're going to be, as we said, taking a look at how the Kromer is made. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to start at the beginning of the assembly line, the big cut. And I'm really
right
excited.
Over there. Ooh, they're looking
We're
like
getting it ready.
Big cut.
And we're going to take it all the way to the end to show you exactly how these are made. We'll be right back, you guys.
Happy Monday and welcome back to a special edition of Upper Michigan Today. We're live in Ironwood at the Stormy Kromer factory, taking a look at how the iconic caps get made. And we are starting from the very beginning of the process. So we're back with Bob and Gina to see where it all gets started. So these caps, they've been the same since 1903 when the brand got started, like you were telling us in the last segment. But you've got a piece of paper in your hand. And is this the pattern that's going to be printed, Bob? You say this part fascinates people.
Yeah, this is the cutting lathe where we're starting to build hats here. So if you look really closely, there are a bunch of triangles, which are 1/6 of the segment of the hat. And then maybe you can see, if the camera picks it up really well, you can see the brims being cut.
Mm-hmm.
The ear flaps, yeah, they look like brims, and so that's what this is. The ear flaps will get cut on the next lathe.
Okay.
Most cutting of fabric is done with multiple plies. So if you look up in the corner, this is 12. There's going to be 12 layers cut at the same time.
Oh wow!
And so we're gonna watch the process. The fabric came from the warehouse down onto the cutting table. It got laid up into this section that's, according to this, is 3 yards. It's basically 9 feet long, and then there's 12 layers of it. So we're going to watch the process now.
All right.
How many hats are going to be made from this?
Just 25?
that.
So somewhere around, well, let's see, there's two or three.
Well, because I see a number, the highest number right here is B20. Oh, that's not it?
Yeah, these are actually those sizes.
Oh, the size.
So we're cutting multiple sizes in one. And I just want to add this, because when I give a tour, and I'm thinking your listeners will like this. If any of you out there have a Cricut for like crafting vinyl, this is like a gigantic Cricut. So it's kind of like that context helps people.
Who doesn't love a Cricut these
Exactly.
days? Everybody
Right.
loves a Cricut. Yeah. Okay, so should we turn it on and fire it up?
We'll turn it on and fire it up,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And you're going to talk us through what's happening?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
All right, fire her up.
Little square in the blade.
All right, we hear the fan going. Vacuum.
So the vacuum is sucking the fabric down on the table. Right now, the machine does not know where the fabric is. So Chris is telling the machine with the fabric. If you see the electric eye, she's telling the machine where the fabric is right now.
Okay.
She's going to draw a giant right triangle on there. There's a mouse pad in her hand, if you see it there. She's telling the machine it's going to draw a giant right triangle. Come up here. See, it's off now, so she's got to adjust that. She's got to move it over now and draw it again because she can't be off. And she doesn't have a lot of fabric to play with, so it's got to be very precise.
Of course, no pressure doing it live on TV, hey?
Yep. There, now it's right. Now she should hit the line here. So now she's got fabric here.
Okay.
And it's ready to go.
So now it's going to start cutting?
It's cutting out triangles now. Those triangles that you saw are there. And I've got a great explanation tool here that, where'd the camera go?
Hey, Robert.
It's over there.
He can't hear us.
We can do that.
Robert.
You can have fun doing that.
All right. So you have this block in your hand.
So if you look really closely, here's the table. There's the table. This is the table. Inside that turret up there is a blade that's stabbing the fabric and going like this really fast.
Yeah.
You just can't see that. That's what's going on. It's just cutting like a saw, like a wood saw does. It's got no teeth on it. It's like a razor blade, if you can see. And every time it goes click, click, it sharpens itself. You'll hear it click and make a clicking noise, and it just ran a sharpening tool down. If you look really close at the blade, it's got these sharpening marks on it. And so that's what it's doing. And one of the things I'm very proud of is this software that's running this cut all the clothing we were wearing. Everybody that's watching, the fabric was cut with Optitex. We get interns from Central Michigan University, University of Wisconsin Stout, and the University of Minneapolis, Minnesota Minneapolis, they all use this software. This company called me about 8 years ago and said, we'd like to interview your people from the UP. We brought in nobody to help us. We think you're one of the best users of our software in the world. And we're very, very proud of that. We figured out how to, we cut more variety than any other sewing factory. Usually when it's an Asian factory that's making, let's say, Nike t-shirts, that whole factory just cuts t-shirts. It doesn't cut sweatshirts, it doesn't cut shoes, it doesn't cut pants or running shorts, it just cuts t-shirts, which means they cut a lot more fabric, but they're doing the same fabric all day long. We make wax cotton hats. Cutting wax cotton is significantly different than wool hats.
But it's all done with this machine.
It's all done with this machine and the software. Then I'm going to pull a piece out. So now I have a block, and this is the right back of a size 7.5.
Okay.
So that's the piece, and that's how it cut it. And it's got, if you look really closely, it's got 2 line-up notches on the bottom. That's actually done with the software, and the cutting puts that a little, you can see it may be better that way.
How many times will you run this throughout the day, or for how many hours does it go?
Running pretty much all the time, all day long. Right now, it's an odd part of the season. We're keeping up with hat demand, but we're also building next year's salesman samples. So they'll be cutting 2 layers of fabric or 1 layer of fabric, just getting enough 16 hats of a new color, so the salesmen each get one, and then they get to go sell next winter.
Okay.
And so and you can see what's going on here. It's just continuing to cut. And I think
So now let's find out what happens once we've made the cuts and you have your flaps. I think we're ready to check out the next stage. We have to take another break, but we'll walk over to the next stage and figure out where those 7.5 flaps have to go.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect.
All right, sounds good. We'll be right back, you guys.
Welcome back to How It's Made. Upper Michigan today, live at the Stormy Kromer factory in Ironwood. We've moved on to the next step of the process. So we're back with Bob and Gina, who's explaining everything. So we've moved on from the cutting, and now it looks like these machines are etching the logo onto these flaps. Can you explain where we're at in the process?
Sure. So these are the ear bands for the Stormy Kromer, and these machines are embroidering the signature, Stormy Kromer's signature on the back. The patent for this hat expired a really long time ago, so unfortunately there are knockoffs. So you want to look for that Stormy Kromer signature to be sure you're getting the real deal. So
And that's it.
That's
That's what you're looking
the real
that's what
for.
we're looking here. All 6 of these heads are doing the same thing, and they're doing the ear bands for 4 hats on each hoop. So
Has the Stormy Kromer signature been on every hat since the beginning?
actually, no. That is something that we added because when we bought it and started to work with some marketing teams and got their advice, there were these copycats, if you will, out there. And this really puts our stamp on, no, this is the original, this is the real thing.
Okay. And I know you're going to be showing us something over
Yes.
here.
We've got a little surprise.
We love surprises.
You go first, or
You go ahead. You go ahead.
So these machines can embroider all kinds of things here. So
Look at
we're gonna
this, you
ask
guys.
Sarah to hit start on the machine. And we've got an extra special logo that we're doing right
Oh
now.
my goodness.
How often do you do these kinds of things for different companies
We
and
do a
organizations?
lot of custom work, especially in this second half of the year. A lot of companies will get them maybe for like employee gifts or things, or customer gifts or things like that. So we do a lot of it, and we love, especially when we can work with other Upper Peninsula companies. Like we've done a lot of just different companies across the UP. But yeah, we're open to, we've done, sports. We got a board over here with all kinds of like different
Let's go
things.
see that. Yeah, look at this.
And this is just like a fraction of what we've done.
That's amazing. Well, I am so excited to see the final product of that. I think the logo looks fantastic on there.
I got to take a picture of this
take
really
a picture.
quickly.
This is a UMT
This
first.
is a UMT. Wow.
How long does it take to embroider each flap?
Tara, can you tell us?
This file actually takes about 15 minutes to run.
15 minutes,
But
okay.
they vary depending on stitches.
How about
so.
a normal earband?
For 4 ear bands, it's about 6 minutes. So
Okay.
you can get 24 done in about 6 minutes. So.
And you're running these through all day long, just keeping it
Sure
going.
are. Yep.
Awesome. It's
Do-
amazing.
Do you have an estimation of how many caps you make here on a given day or a given week?
Yeah, we make about 400 hats a day. So
400 a day.
yes, and in addition to all the other
Yeah.
things that we make. But yes,
Great.
about 400 hats a day.
Because it's not just hats, it's like the vest that you're wearing, which,
right.
by the way, I love it so much. I think I might have to do some shopping.
Yeah.
I think there's a store. over
Exactly.
there.
We're going to make it to the retail store hopefully before this ends. But okay, so we're going to go to the next step in the process.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
this. This
yeah.
is amazing. We are so excited. This way? Okay. All right, here we go. So where are we headed?
We are headed down the actual hat manufacturing line, and so this is a very. We're going to skip down here a little bit. It's very sort of like what you would think of an assembly line, where they're doing like one step and passing it on to the next person. So we're going to stop here with Wendy real quick. So Wendy's doing one of our automatic machines, and one of the other things that we added to the hat was to have a label that tells the story of George Kromer and his wife making that very first hat in 1903, so that every hat you get, you're able to share that story with, because people love, it's just more than a hat, right? You can tell it's got this history and legacy to it, and so this first step is making sure that gets stitched into every hat.
Just going to say, there's so much pride in a Stormy Kromer from the very first step to putting the labels on to actually the moment it hits someone's head.
Absolutely, and our one of our core values here as a company is actually proud and passionate, because our employees really feel like they kind of have a responsibility to do right by this brand and by the customers. So.
And in a day of fast fashion where so many brands, we don't know, what's going on behind the scenes, to have a local brand like this that you trust, that the products are good, there are actual human beings doing hard work, sometimes slow work, long processes behind that piece. I just feels like you can justify spending a little extra money for a piece that you just love.
I'm going to hire you for our marketing team.
Perfect, because I need a second job.
No, I mean, absolutely the quality that you get and the care that folks like Wendy and all the folks you'll see today that they put into it, it really is different than something that's just as kind of nameless and faceless.
And something that Elizabeth and I commented on when we walked in here is wow, there are so many people.
There are so many people.
We're expecting so many machines, and yes, there are machines and there are automated processes. They're all ran by people. People are hand sewing.
There's so many more touches
it's so much more
to it than I
involved than I really
expected.
thought.
It's very high touch. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. It's neat to see the process. So where does it go from here?
We're going to start making the crown and the liner and then put it all together.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. All right. Should we take a break, and then are we going to see the final
sounds great.
final piece?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take another break and keep heading down the line. We'll be right back. It is time to turn the flaps into hats and watch the Kromer take shape. We are back here with Bob in another stage of the Stormy Kromer. I see the flaps, not the ones we cut this morning. Obviously, these ones are red and black, but it's the same concept here, and she's putting them all together.
Yep, so we're starting with the crown. This is what we call the crown. This is the traditional Stormy Kromer hat. Those of you that sew online, this is an odd way of making a seam in any fabric with the raw edge showing, so it's a little more difficult than just sewing like my shirt or something like that. So there are the pieces that came off the cutting press. There's the paper on top that stayed with it. This is the left front. She's making actually size 8, so that's the left front of a size 8, and that's the left center, and that's the left front. And Dorothy's putting them together into pieces and turning it into a crown.
I asked you during the break if you have a kind of a final quality control piece where you actually inspect every hat, and you said no.
We actually had a sewing advisor come in. We've had many come in here and help us make this as good as we possibly can. And they told us to shut down the final inspection and turn every person, tell them how much pride they have and talk about all of that and what a great product we're making, and let them be their own inspector. So it's inspected right at the beginning. And we understand their humanness. They might make a mistake, and they just fix it. We give them time to fix it and change
It's all
things.
part of the process. Okay, we're going to keep going. Here we go. We're on the move.
We're going over to watch the ear flaps get bound. And we're changing bobbins right now, but we want to get in right there. And these are the ear flaps. They came.
Oh, yeah, they have the signature on
So
them.
here's the signature. And it's got to have a nice edge put on. So that's what Jean Ann's doing right now, is putting the edge on. You can see it coming together there. So she's going around in a circle.
How many stations in total does a Stormy Kromer run through?
11.
11. This is step?
Well, there's actually 4 pieces getting made. So somebody's making the brims, somebody's making the ear flaps, somebody's making the crowns, and somebody's making the liners. And so we've seen that. Now we're going to go over and watch the brims getting made.
Okay, we're on to the brims.
To the brims.
So we've got a top piece that you saw getting cut. We have a bottom piece. This is the lining, same as the lining material. And we've got a plastic stiffener that goes inside. So that's what we have here. This is going to go in, eventually go inside here. And Lori's putting these together. So this is a brim. And now the difference between what happens here now after Lori's done, she's going to put a plastic in and she's going to finish it for you. She's amazingly fast here.
It's a really manual process, though.
There, the brim's done.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go over here, and this process is not running today, but I can give you a really good explanation if I can find one. Hang on a second.
Okay.
The stitches have to get put in. If you look at, the hat comes from Lori without the stitches, and it goes into these machines here that aren't running today. They're caught up, and so we keep it balanced. But this is programmed just like the machine that was sewing the square around the label. That was programmed to sew a square. These are programmed to sew these 4 arches. So that's what happens next.
Okay, so then we've got the brim set.
So now all the components are done. The lining's done, the brim's done, the ear flap's done, and the crown's done. Now it's final assembly.
Okay.
So this is our final assembly. And one point of distinction, again, go back to a Nike factory. If this was the final assembly of a Nike factory, this whole line would be the same color. They'd be making blue t-shirts or something like that because there's 100,000 orders. Watch how many times the color changes as we go through, because this is our final assembly, and we're not even, what is there, 3 colors in the final assembly? Maybe 4 colors in final assembly.
So that's the inside?
Mel is taken, so this is the inside put into the outside. So the
Okay.
2 pieces are put together. There's the story in every hat, but it has to go to the next station inside out. So this is exactly, in fact, this is the same color that was on the cutting machine. And then, what's Mona got? Mona puts the hinge for the ear band and the headband inside of it. So now it gets another step.
Okay.
It goes on to here.
Ooh,
And
look at these
Penny-
ones.
Now we got wax cotton. Penny is putting a binding on the bottom so the bottom doesn't look so rough like this. So the same binding that goes around the ear flap gets put on here. That's what is going on next.
Okay.
And then, of course, the brim gets
Oh,
put
put the
on.
brim
now
on.
it's starting to look like
Okay.
it's
now
starting to
the
look like
Kromer.
starting to look
It's
like a
all
Kromer.
coming together.
Inside doesn't look so good yet. It's not finished yet. So that's all that has to happen.
Your brims look great.
And this wonderful lady is taking the hat that looks like this, and she's making it look like
Look at that. She finished one just in time.
the finished one just in time. So what she'll normally do is flip it inside out. So now we have a hat without an ear flap, but the inside's finished.
So I'm guessing the next one is the ear flap.
Yes, and Wendy,
Process of elimination.
this is not Wendy's twin. This is the same lady that was putting the labels
Hi
on.
again.
So Wendy's putting the ear flaps on. So this is how it looks as it comes off the press here. But this is all pretty tricky stuff.
Yeah.
Even the hat's not even flat. Look at how she has to manipulate it and get it done.
And what
And-
about the tie? Is there a special part to the tie?
Yeah, the special part to the tie is so many people think we have a machine that ties it.
And you don't.
And there's the machine that ties it right there.
Oh, she's a machine.
Well, Mary's not tying right now. It's interesting. So
But I guess that we could ask her too.
Yeah.
We could ask her.
grab that hat off the. So there's what she always has on the assembly line is for the tour is,
Retie it for us, Mary.
so
We
Mary
wanna see
is
the official tie.
hat tire.
Because this is kind of the big moment, right? It's final, it's ready to go.
We've had employees stop people on streets of large metropolitan cities and say, "Give me your hat. It's tied wrong." And they take their hat off and they actually tie it. So
So
Look
I
at
need
that.
the lesson, and I missed it. Unfortunately,
Oh,
I missed it.
okay,
I'm really
okay.
sorry, but
Slow
I need
motion.
to know how it's tied.
it's actually, there's just a thought process, almost like making a square knot, where you have the bows either end up horizontal or vertical. They either end up like this or like this.
If you pull up with the second loop, it'll put it horizontal.
Okay, I know
Or
how to make
if you
square
don't,
knot.
it'll flip like
Yeah,
that.
it'll
know
flip
what you
like that. So
You're not doing bunny ears. It's a one loop
Yeah.
with a wrap.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, got you. All right.
And there's a lot of history of even around the tie. In fact, let me grab one.
I mean, there's so much history in every step
Every
of the
piece.
process, and then every next step of the process is reliant on the one before. So
Yeah.
it really, truly is such a team effort, and just this cap.
We did make some subtle changes. We put the Kromer signature on the back.
Yep.
And then we did this thing that not hardly anybody knows, but we tacked the shoelace down here, the tie. When we bought the company, before us, this was not connected.
Oh.
Okay, and about 2 years into me owning the business, I was standing in the vestibule of church talking to this wonderful man who was home visiting his mother, and he lost an arm in Vietnam, so he's only got one hand, and we're talking, having great eye contact and having fun, and without him looking at my hat, he bumped it, and the next thing I know, he was holding my string. He had untied it without looking with one hand, and he's holding it, and he said, "I've got an old Kromer at home without a string, and you got a whole box of them back at the factory." So he stole my string right. I went home like this because my string was gone, and that's when we started to put this down, so nobody can steal anybody's
And it
string
prompted
anymore.
the idea.
And they fell on the store, and they fell on the floor at the store and all that fun stuff. So,
Sure.
So we tack it down so you can't steal anybody's.
Nobody's
string.
losing their
It's
string
really
anymore.
fun. So that's where we're at. Right
All
there.
right. Well, I think it's time to talk about how to properly size your head for a Kromer and look at exactly how it all comes together and gets to the store. We have to take another break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Upper Michigan Today. So we saw how the Kromer is made. It's an assembly line production, and now we're going to take a look at one of their new vests that's just been released for fall. And while the work is still done by hand, it's not so much an assembly line, but rather one station start to finish.
Yeah, one operator start to finish. So Barb might need to use multiple machines on this. So she's kind of getting close to the end of this particular vest, but she's finishing the collar right now. And so she's got a bundle of probably 6 or 12, and she'll just go to the different machines and do one step at a time, kind of her own assembly line,
Yes,
if you
got
will.
it.
Yes.
And you have the final
Yes.
product in your hand. Let's take a look.
This is what it
Ooh.
will look like.
Tia, I think you better put it on.
So cute. It is really, and this is beautiful wool that we buy actually from a mill in Connecticut. It feels wonderful, and it's kind of soft and fleecy, but it still has a lot of wool content. So kind of a very retro kind of plaid. So we're excited to have it, and folks like Barb are just crafting this into a beautiful piece that'll last you forever.
So obviously a lot of Kromers come out of this facility,
Yes.
but all of your other products are also made here as well.
Yes, we do have a couple of partners. So we do work with a facility in Lower Michigan in Flint. That's kind of a rehab facility that does, actually, they probably made this vest I'm wearing.
Okay.
And there's a little facility over in Washburn, Wisconsin that sometimes does some work for us. We partner with some other American factories for like knitted hats. We don't knit. So, but like 85 to 90% of the stuff is made here.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you said it's new this fall.
New this fall.
I think it's going to be a big hit.
Yes, absolutely. We love this plaid, so yeah.
And you brought out a lot of different vests, jackets. We're going to look at the retail store in just a moment,
Yes.
but you've really expanded far beyond the hat.
Yes, we want people to be able to like have Kromer in their, not just on top of their head, but throughout their entire, cold weather wardrobe.
Yeah. How do you come up with new products and new designs and keep it fresh?
Yeah, we have someone on staff who is our product designer and developer. She's obviously keeping an eye on trends in the outdoor industry, keeping an eye on our competition, and it's a combination of developing new plaids like this, new styles, things that are good. We're not fast fashion. You mentioned that earlier, right? So we need to design things that'll last and be on trend for a while. So it's kind of a very long process. We actually just finished developing fall of 25.
Wow. So you're always kind of working a year in advance.
Absolutely, yes. And that's kind of the cycle for like our retailers that sell our products. They start buying early and we have to just get all of that in the pipeline.
All right, well, let's start walking. We can keep talking, but this is the end of our tour here of the factory side of Stormy Kromer. Now we want to walk over and show you all the retail space and continue this conversation. You know, obviously staying in Ironwood, having this be a piece of Ironwood is something that's really important. Why have you decided to keep your operations here?
You know, we honestly believe that like place is important to a brand, and Bob, my dad, will always say that if like a sewing company in Florida bought this brand in 2001, it just wouldn't be the same, right? Because we get to live the need for this hat, right? Every day we can test it. Our employees are our best product testers, and it's also important. My family has been owning businesses here in Ironwood since like the turn of the previous century, and so there's this like legacy of employing people here and being a part of this community. And actually, I moved away and came back to Ironwood because I wanted to keep employing people here.
I mean, right, that point of pride in community, us Yoopers, we have that. And to have a factory like Stormy Kromer that, you know, you ship out all across the world, people all around the country, all around the world, they know who you are. And you've won some awards. You've got some accolades for those features. I think I saw in the retail space over here an award for like the coolest factory in Michigan. Is that what it was?
Coolest thing made
in Michigan. Just in general, coolest thing made in Michigan. And it's in Ironwood. I think
argue
that's
with
pretty cool.
that.
My grandparents are from Ironwood, so I have a little local tie to the area. So I just think that's a neat facet. Other than that, you know, what else do you think really sets Stormy Kromer apart from other businesses? Not just in Michigan, but on a national level.
Well, I do think the fact that how much we stand behind our work. I mean, our hats have a lifetime guarantee. So, like, literally, you can buy one hat and have it the rest of your life.
Right.
And then that comes with this pride that not just our employees have, but that people who wear it have. So it becomes a part of people's lives. We have so many stories of people getting married in their Kromers, people getting tattoos of a Kromer, people who tell me that their life was saved by their Stormy Kromer because they fell in the ice and it protected their head. Like, it's kind of crazy how much this brand becomes a part of people's lives, and more than just some little silly hat you would buy just without thinking about it.
Just picking it up at any old store.
Right.
Well, they are hats to be talked about, shared, passed down to the next generation. We're going to finish our walk here and head into the retail store, but we have to take another quick break. We'll be right back.
Like, not too tight.
So we're figuring out how exactly to measure your head, size yourself for a Stormy Kromer cap, because they come in all different sizes, and this hat's going to last you for the rest of your life. So you want it to be in just the right size, not too tight, not too big. So you just got your head measured.
Got my head measured. So if you come to Stormy Kromer,
yes.
Is this something you would do for someone who walked in?
We'd be happy to help, although you can also just like try them on.
Yeah.
And most of the people that work here are pretty good at like seeing someone's head and getting a pretty good guess.
Did you have a guess of mine?
You know, I guessed bigger than you measured. So
It's because I told you I had a big head.
Okay.
I said
so give this one a try, and then
inflated
I'll
it.
explain how it works.
Okay.
Might be small.
No, I don't think so. I told Tia, I don't know if I have the right head or hair for a Kromer. Let's see. Oh, it's the hair. It's the hair. It's a real problem. Okay, so explain the process a little bit more now that I have it on.
Okay, so I measured your head with this soft tape measure. If you don't have one of these, you could use like a string or something and then measure it. So measure around like where your hat would sort of sit. You're going to be in the like 21, 22, 23 range. You were 22 and a half.
Okay.
And then I took my little calculator and I divided by pi, which I know you never thought you were going to use ever again.
There's a reason for it. There's a reason for it.
Divide by 3.14.
Okay.
And then you sort of round up to the nearest like eighth. to get your hat size. So you are a 7 1/8.
I'm a 7
which
and
is
an 8.
actually like the most common women's size.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone thinks they have a big head. Fun fact. Like,
Really?
People come in here and they're like, I have such a big head.
Oh, I really thought I had a really large head. Okay, Tia.
Tia has lots of hair.
Yeah,
I
she
thought you were
does.
going to say Tia has a big head. I was going to say I
You've
do.
got hair, and so that
This is real cute, you guys.
I do. That is a factor because, especially because I don't want hat hair.
Does that
If I take-
feel tight?
No, that feels pretty good.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 22 1/4 for you. I'm
Okay.
gonna
Okay.
divide
Is that 22
that.
1/4?
She was 22 1/2. Divided by
3.14 apple pie.
So it's 7.05. So that would be a 7 or maybe a 7 1/8 is going to be more comfortable. for
Okay,
you.
okay.
Which color do you like?
Ooh, let's see. I love blue and I love green. This one's lovely. I like this one a lot.
Okay.
So this is the 7 1/8.
Yeah.
This is the hard part, picking the one that you're going to
give one
wear
of these
all
a
the
try.
time.
Okay. I'll first try on the 7 1/8. I have clips in my hair, so I got to stand by. Gotta take these out so I can actually get a real feel for this.
It's real cute.
adorable.
It's
Oh my
real
gosh, it
cute.
It's very cute.
And that one has a button instead of the bow.
We have so many different little variations
Yeah.
for you. Yes.
Honestly, I might even try one size up. from
Bigger?
this. Yeah.
It's really all how a person likes them to feel too, right? I mean, there's the size, but then
I actually measure a 7, but I just prefer a 7 1/8. I'm one of those people that can get a headache if their hat is pushing funny. So yeah, it is the best thing to do is if you can try one on, and there's lots of retailers we have all over the state that you can do that.
yeah. Oh, she likes
Is this
that.
7 1/4?
7 1/4.
7
7 1/4.
Okay, that's my size.
7 1/4.
7 1/4.
Okay, we have to take another break, but before we go, just quickly look at this whole retail space. The jackets, the vests. And when we first walked in, I thought this was it. But you guys, look at this. It just keeps going. Come on, Robert. There's so much in here to look for, to check out, to try on. And it really comes down to, I don't know how you'd make a selection on all the things.
You just have to pick. Just got to pick something.
Let's take a look at our Kromers.
We look like true Yoopers.
We do. They're real cute.
Alrighty, I think we should take a commercial
Let's
break,
do
and
it.
when we come back, we'll wrap it all up.
Oh, I don't want to leave. I know. Okay. All right. You're looking good there, Tia. It fits.
Maybe
It
a
fits.
quarter size smaller.
Yeah, maybe just a little. Now we're wrapping things here outside the Stormy Kromer facilities. This has been such an amazing and insightful tour here this morning. But this is something that if someone watching at home wants to come see for themselves, they can actually schedule a tour with all of you.
Absolutely, we love showing people what we do, and so, this wind. Monday through Thursday, we offer free factory tours. The times kind of vary, but if you go on our website, stormykromer.com, and then scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the tour link, and you can schedule a time to come and get a free tour. Very often, my dad will be your tour giver. It's kind of his main retirement gig is giving the tour, and our folks love showing what they do.
And Bob, you really love giving tours.
It's just wonderful. I mean, we get people from all over, and I go around the room and say, where are you from? And, they'll look at me and they'll say, Livonia. And I'll say, well, what brings you here? And they go, this? And you drove all the way from Livonia to take the tour? Yes, we did. And we get it so often. And it's almost like they're at the monument or whatever, the monument to their hat. And we've had two 50-year-old sons take their 80-year-old dad. This was his request for his birthday, was to take the tour with his sons and come and do this tour. And you hear so many cool stories. I mean, you meet so many cool people, especially if you just ask them and they get warmed up and stuff. And then the big surprise to them is they think we take a roll of fabric and throw it into a machine and it out pops a hat. That there's nobody that really makes it.
Yeah.
And that's the fun of it all, just showing them. And I'm so proud of everybody. I mean, we have this great number of people, and we only really recruited, right now we only have 2 people from out of the Upper Peninsula that work for us.
Wow.
So all of this happened from the creativity of
Yeah.
UP people, and it's just so cool to be part of this. It's just absolutely wonderful.
It's incredible, and you can feel the pride, you can feel the excitement and the energy. And we showed you the retail store just a few moments ago, but obviously that's not the only place that you can get a Kromer. You are located all across the country in so many different stores, and of course online.
Absolutely. What we have over 600 or 700 retailers around the country that stock our products. About 200 of them are in the state of Michigan. So I guarantee you, if you live here, there is a dealer near you, in your immediate area. Places like Getz's and Marquette, Wilderness Sports and Ishpeming are two of our great dealers, just a few examples. But we also sell to some bigger, chains. We're in Tractor Supply and REI and some other Shields, things like that. But you can always also buy on our website at stormykromer.com.
And what's the most popular Kromer ever produced? What remains the fan favorite? Do you know?
The red black plaid original continues to be the top. So we keep throwing all these new things, and people love the new things, but you can't escape the classic pattern.
It's so true.
Right?
It is timeless. The black and red, like buffalo plaid, that is just a timeless look. So,
What's your favorite?
I actually really love this plaid. I have a hat in this as well. Although there is a brand new plaid that we launched this fall for women called Plymouth, which is black and kind of light gray. I'm a very neutral kind of gal, so those are my favorites.
And Bob, we have just like 30 seconds left. What's your favorite?
Well, actually, we make the red and black plaid with a red and black plaid brim, and also with a leather brim, and I just love it. That's my favorite. I'm sure I will be wearing that until I get much older, so it's pretty cool.
Really, you can't go wrong. I think they're all fantastic. We saw that whole wall of them, and I don't know how I would ever pick. There's so many great ones. And I just want to thank both of you so much for the tour this morning and giving us a little bit of a glimpse into what you do. It's really incredible. So thank you so much. And to you at home, thanks for sticking with us. Have a wonderful Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Upper Michigan.